Yagumagarere abata
Erosi baba garere
Yagumagarere alatari eye
Erosi baba garere
Moro coro como temero Modena ye momo temaka Moro coro como temero Modena ye momo temaka Otani mamatara Eroni mamarora Lawe del oro seriki Seriki lorung apeleya Sakake misao kuroba Boba ena yemata que yana yo
Moro coro como temero Modena ye momo de mata Moro coro como temero Modena ye momo de mata Otani mamatara Eroni mamarora Yahweh Eloru Seriti Seriti Loru Apeleya Sakaki Misa Okuroba Bobalena Yemata Keyana
Eri
Yana
eri omo
Yana
The Black Panther Party came under the guns of the FBI, as did all of the Black Liberation Movement. It didn't matter what positions you took. It mattered that people related to those positions, that people understood what you were saying, that people supported you. And I think that when J. Edgar Hoover and those who control the United States government understood how many young people looked to the party for leadership, how many young people were inspired by the Black Panther Party, how many young people supported the activities of the Black Panther Party. And it was, you know, people, just ordinary street people, working people, mothers, grandmothers who would come to the office and bring clothes, come to the office and make donations. So the government just perceived us as a threat because they understood that we were serious, they understood we were telling the truth, and they understood also that we were becoming a much more sophisticated opposition. We were not just the piece of pie opposition, but that we wanted a real structural change in the United States. And so we took very clear positions. We opposed the United States government intervention in Vietnam. We opposed the blockade against Cuba and all of the other U.S. policies that were hostile to the Cuban Revolution. We opposed the United States policies of supporting apartheid in South Africa. We opposed all of the U.S. government's imperialist policies against all progressive people's struggles. By the 1960s, the end of the 1960s, the Black Liberation Movement became the main target of the counterintelligence program. And what they did was to try to neutralize all of our leaders, to prevent young people from coming together and uniting. And so what they did is try to pit organization against organization. They tried to pit leaders in the same organizations against each other. In New York, where I was, what they did was they arrested in, I think it was 1967, 1968, I'm not very clear on the date, or don't remember it at this moment. They arrested on charges of conspiracy 21 of our most effective activists, of our most effective leaders, as a movement, have to concentrate a lot of our energies on trying to liberate our imprisoned comrades. And even though they were given bail, the bail was $100,000 apiece, and only a few of them we were able to bail out. I think that we cannot look at the Black Panther Party in the past. We cannot look at the Black Liberation Movement as something in the past. African people are still not free, and there are still many, many political prisoners in the United States. It is time for us to demand total, immediate amnesty for all political prisoners and prisoners of war. If we do not take ourselves seriously, if we do not take our movement seriously, then we will have to hang our heads in front of our ancestors.
Baba Ochosi, Ayeloda, Omolode.
Ochosi, Ayeloda, Omolode.
Baba Ochosi, Omayeloda, Omelamode.
Ochosi, Ayeloda, Omolode.
Wole, wole.
Odemada, oge, oge.
Iwole.
Odemada, oge, oge.
Wole, wole.
Odemada, oge, oge.
Iwole.
Odemada, oge, oge.
Ochosi, Ayeloda, Omolode.
Ochosi, Ayeloda, Omolode.
Baba Ochosi, Omayeloda, Omelamode.
Ochosi, Ayeloda, Omolode.
Yambele iloro de mata colona.
Yambele iloro de mata corona.
Yambele iloro de mata colona.
Yambele iloro de mata corona.
Iwara de pao de mata.
Iwara
Ayo chocho de mata.
Iwara
Y de pao de mata.
Iwara
Ayo chocho de mata.
Iwara
Ayo chocho de mata.
Iwara
Y de pao de mata.
Iwara
Ayo chocho de mata.
Iwara
Y de pao de mata.
Iwara
Ayo chocho de mata.
Iwara
Y de pao de mata. Y de pao de mata.
Iwara
Ayo chocho de mata.
Iwara
Y de pao.
Where I was kept in a room, isolated for something like 4 or 5 days. I was beaten, tortured. It was a hellish experience. No one was permitted to see me. My aunt, who is also my lawyer, Evelyn Williams, had to get a court order for her and my mother and my sister to come and see me. I was in prison altogether 6.5 years. I spent more than 2.5 years in solitary confinement. Much of that was in men's prisons. In other words, I was the only woman. Even though they say that there are no political prisoners in the United States, I was kept in solitary confinement, kept in men's prisons because of my political beliefs. So you figure that one out. What it was prison? Prison was hell. It was a new kind of plantation. I feel like a maroon woman. I feel like an escaped slave, because what I saw in the United States in those prisons was slavery. It was black people with chains in cells. It was just poor people, just stepped on and smashed. I'll never forget what I saw. I'll never forget what I've lived through. I'll never forget what my people have lived through.
Awo mandai ayalo cha Yabona de kuna kuere piosun. Mo wirori, mo wirora. Koga baeche. Ala mono yefa.
We started to, I don't know, to feel tender toward each other. We started to feel an attraction, to feel like human beings again, I guess is the word for it. And the subject of sex came up, and we thought about it, and we talked about it. And it was really heavy. It was a heavy, heavy thing because, you know, I didn't know how to feel. Because so much that was around us was like slavery, you know, I mean, it was like very clear they were out to wipe us out, and it was real. It wasn't any fantasy, wasn't any joke. They were out to take our heads. And, you know, I felt like a slave. I'm sure he must have felt just like a slave, and we said, well, how could we even think about bringing a child into this world? But then what other world is there to bring a child in? I mean, the world is a terrible place. And, you know, I thought about my mother, my grandmother, my great-great-great-grandmothers, and what they must have thought about as slaves, bringing life into this world. And you know, we just decided that we were going to live. You know, we were going to live, we're going to struggle, and we're not going to kill our own hopes. We're not going to kill our own life. We're not going to kill our right to live. And so we just decided to be human beings, to be people. In spite of all the people that were trying to squash us down and all the forces that were trying to dehumanize us, we decided to be human. The day before it was time to escape, I called my grandmother, and I couldn't call her, you know, and say, I'm getting ready to escape. And so she said, I want to tell you something. Are you listening to me? Yes, grandmother. I don't want you to get used to that place. Don't get accustomed to that place. Do you hear me? Yes, grandmother. Are you sure you hear me? Yes, grandmother. I do not want you getting used to that place. Do you hear me? Yes, grandmother. And so when I hung up the phone, it was like a sign. It was like, you know, my grandmother knew. It was like everything was ready to go, and everything went fine. I think that the only way that we're going to realize freedom, justice, equality, decent living for people is if there's a complete change. Everything has got to be turned around, and that's a revolution, a complete change. Separation has been very hard on my family. I'm sure in other eras, I don't know, after slavery, people went around looking for their family, looking for the marks that they put on their children. So I'm sure there's a lot about my family's separation and the pain that I don't know, whether it's in the coast of Africa or the coast of some island in the Caribbean or in the United States. Separation is a real part of being African in the Americas, being slaves or ex-slaves. In my own case, prison has meant separation, exile has meant separation, and well, I'm going to be real right now because I can't be any other way. Today, my mother died. And I didn't know if I could do this, but since I didn't have anything else to do, and I figured this was the best homage I could pay to my mother, is to try to carry on her tradition, what she passed down to me, what my grandmother passed down to her, and what their foremothers passed down to them. I hope that I can live up to my mother's example, and I hope I can live up to my ancestors' expectation of me, because I really believe that I have a duty to all those who have come before me, to all those who lie at the bottom of the ocean, to all those who lost their lives, whether it's in the cane fields or the cotton fields or, hanging off some tree, to continue this struggle and to continue to love and to continue to believe and to continue to try to be human, to be giving, to be loving.
others celebrate. It is only they who see the dreadful colors of suffering. It is only they who perceive where the intense splendor of victory is to be found. Because warrior women are the eyes of the rainbow, the eyes of the rainbow, the eyes of the rainbow.
My name is Assata Shakur. Assata means she who struggles. Olugbala means for the people, and Shakur means the thankful. It is a name that I took to carry on the name of Zaid Malik Shakur in honor of his family and in honor of the forces of beauty and good on this earth, which I'm very grateful for. That is my name.
I don't know how my mother walked her trouble down. I don't know how my father stood his ground. I don't know how my people survived slavery. I do remember, that's why I believe. I don't know why the rivers overflow their banks. I don't know why the snow falls and covers the ground. I don't know why the hurricane sweeps through the land every now and then. Standing in a rainstorm, I believe. I don't know why the angels woke me up this morning soon.